everybody, and welcome to our home again on what is an absolute wonderful, beautiful Sunday morning. I want a more perfect way to start this morning with a wonderful, joyful hymn. So if you look on our Facebook page, you'll find the words. So let's all join in together in a wonderful, slightly over the top Conduct Jones style version of Jubilate. You'll have probably heard in the background there's a squeaky noise. Someone who's been fast asleep for the past hour and a half has just woke up, and that's our wonderful Pepper, and she seems to be trying to eat half the furniture at the moment. We're now going to start today's time of music reflections with sharing with you Psalm 46, which Steve is going to read for us.
God is our shelter and strength, always ready to help in times of trouble. So we will not be afraid, even if the earth is shaken and the mountains fall into the ocean's depths. Even if the seas roar and rage and the hills are shaken by the violence. There is a river that brings joy to the city of God, to the sacred house of the Most High. God is in that city, and it will never be destroyed. At early dawn he will come to its aid. Nations are terrified. Kingdoms are shaken, God thunders, and the earth dissolves. The Lord Almighty is with us, the God of Jacob is our refuge. Come and see what the Lord has done. See what amazing things he has done on earth. He stops wars all over the world. He breaks bows, destroys spears, and sets shields on fire. Stop fighting, he says, and know that I am God, supreme among the nations, supreme over the world. The Lord Almighty is with us, the God of Jacob is our refuge.
God is working his purpose out as he succeeds to you. God is working his purpose out and the time is drawing near. Nearer and nearer draws the time.
So Steve's now going to share with us a reading from the Gospel of John.
Jesus spoke to the Pharisees again. I am the light of the world, he said. Whoever follows me will have the light of life and will never walk in darkness. The Pharisees said to him, now you are testifying on your own behalf. What you say proves nothing. No, Jesus answered. Even though I do testify on my own behalf, what I say is true, because I know where I came from and where I am going. You do not know where I came from or where I am going. You make judgments in a purely human way. I pass judgment on no one. But if I were to do so, my judgment would be true, because I am not alone in this. The Father who sent me is with me. It is written in your law that when two witnesses agree, what they say is true. I testify on my own behalf, and the Father who sent me also testifies on my behalf. Where is your Father? They asked him. You know neither me nor my Father, Jesus answered. If you knew me, you would know my Father also. Jesus said all this as he taught in the temple, in the room where the offering boxes were placed.
Father, hear the prayer we offer, not for ease that prayer shall be, but for strength that we may ever live our lives courageously. Not forever in green pastures do we ask our way to be, but the steep and rugged pathway may we tread rejoicingly. Not forever by still waters would we idly rest and stay, but God's find the living fountains from the rocks along our way. Be our strength in hours of weakness, in our wanderings be our guide, through endeavor, failure, danger, Father, be thou at our side.
As both me and Steve have been chatting about the subject today of our time here together, which is faith in this strange world, really. Faith in a changing world. We started looking at different poems and different things and different readings. It's amazing when we actually went through the Tinterweb, as we do sometimes to get ideas of things that we found, and one that we'd like to share with you is by someone called Christian Hawkey, and it's just simply called Yes. Yes, faith can lift a mountain from its base. Yes, faith can turn a river off its course. Yes, faith can win an impossible race. Yes, faith can calm a lion as it roars. Sure, faith can do an impossible thing. Sure, faith can hold a marriage till the end. Sure, faith can well a happy ending bring. Sure, faith can truly iron bars to bend. True faith can make a friendship very strong. True faith unites two lovers tied in a knot. True faith can make miles look like one furlong. True faith can win a war through ill-fought battles. No one can afford to lose faith since their birth, and faith in God is what we need on earth. we're now going to join together in a hymn which is called Take My Life and Let It Be. It has been attributed that this tune was actually written by Mozart, so you'll forgive us for our slightly Mozart parlour music style flourishes in it.
Take my life and let it be consecrated, Lord, to Thee. Take my moments and my days, let them flow in ceaseless praise. Take my voice and let me sing, always come before my King. Take my lips and let them be filled with messages from Thee. Take my will and make it Thine. It shall be no longer mine. Take my heart, it is Thine own. It shall be Thy royal throne. Take my love, my Lord, I pour at Thy feet its precious store. Take myself, and I will be ever only all for Thee.
Slightly different melody line. There's somebody sitting on you at the time. It was only a few days ago we actually escaped out, didn't we, for the first time. It's quite exciting. We actually got a passport and we went out of Reddish. We went as far south, north, whichever way it goes actually. Far out of the country as to Crosby, didn't we? West. Seaside-ish way. And we were sitting chatting to each other in the car about life and things and faith, and that is the thing that really hit both of us, like the nail on the head, that we just all of a sudden realised, because when you're talking about faith and ever-changing world, the first thing is, what is faith? Now, that would be an interesting one if you do what we did a few days ago and try putting that one into a search engine. It's amazing the different answer you get there. Well, what is faith? Is it our Christian belief? Is faith the faith that we have in other people? Is faith the faith we have in ourselves? Is faith the faith we have or sometimes don't have in the world around us? But the thing is, in the famous words of the late George Michael, whatever it is, we've got to have it, you've got to have faith. So, when we're questioning about faith, what do we do? Well, I can tell you what we did. We went for the most reliable source of all, Google.
And Wikipedia.
Of course, it turns out that is not the most reliable source at all. When you want to find an answer, there is a book that we'll turn to, and probably many of you do, and that is that wonderful book called the Bible. And I've spent some time flicking through, as I do, and just reading different things. And I don't know why, I ended up fumbling through the pages of Romans, and something around chapter 10 just stuck out straight hard at me. And it's where you do tend to find Paul discussing his thoughts, as he does, and I may actually be taking this one totally out of context, but it just hits home the certain actual line that was in that verse. And all it was, so then, faith comes from hearing the message, and the message comes through preaching Christ. Now we'll just leave that off to one side for a moment, because it's true in that chapter many other questions are asked. Isn't that what life is like now, with normal for all of us? In the 21st century, with the advent of the internet, we think we have the answer to everything, and we don't. We're always questioning everything. And there's one thing we never stop questioning. It doesn't matter how strong or weak that faith is. It's something we do question, but there is an inert reaction that faith will bring us to lead our lives in a more settled and truthful way. Jesus did say, I am the way, the truth, and the life. So that means if we follow Jesus, does that mean we get all the answers? I really wish that was the case, but unfortunately we're human beings and we're all very good at trying to do things our own way. I think if we could follow that 1,000%, that would be a very different situation. But as human beings, we are infallible and we do things that are wrong. But if we go back to that question that I asked in the beginning, what is faith? Well, it is that assurance, that calming in our own minds that we're not alone in this journey of life on our own, that there is a light leading us through. And to many of us, that light is Christ. And he goes back to that first question. Is faith the faith we have in other people? Well, with faith, that helps us to be able to welcome people into our lives. Helps us to be able to share our lives with people. And that's where we start giving a gift called love. Something that I know I talk about constantly. And that gift of love that Christ gives us, as we share it and spread it through our deeds and actions, it starts to give us that assurance in our daily thoughts and feelings. And you know, if we follow that very simple message, this world around us, that will change to a more caring, compassionate and understanding society. But there is still one niggling thing that, as we're driving back from Crosby, that was constantly going on in our minds and we're constantly talking about is, well, what is your faith? Who says that Christianity is the right way? For me, it is. This is where you say yes.
Yes.
Well done.
Yeah.
But for many of us, this world, it is. And for all of us, it is a world filled with many different faiths. Hinduism, Sikhism, Islam, Judaism, humanism, the list just goes on and on and on and on. And the core of all those followings is one very simple message. Is that to love, and by love, trust and faith is secured. So it goes right back to what that page opened up to me on in Romans chapter 10. So then, faith comes from hearing that message. And that message, well, it's very much simply preached, isn't it? By all of us just doing those very simple things in life. Opening our hearts to everybody. Taking people into our lives. Letting people into our own lives as well. And most of all, just by sharing that very simple gift. Love. Steve's now going to share a song with us. I think Pepper will have to move. She's getting a bit sulky because she knows she's going to have a very long, we can't mention the word, day trip out in a minute.
Rain that falls, earth our grows. I believe that somewhere in the darkest night,
So let us now all turn to a short moment of prayer. God, grant us the serenity to accept the things we cannot change, the courage to change the things we can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Living one day at a time, enjoying one moment at a time, accepting hardships as a pathway to peace, taking, as he did, this sinful world as it is, not as I would have it, trusting that he will make all things right if I surrender to his will, that I may be reasonably happy in this life and supremely happy with him forever in the next. Amen. Now join together in the words of the Lord's Prayer. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory, for ever and ever. Amen. It's a few moments that will actually be bringing our time here together of music and reflections to a close, but I do hope you join us next week at 12 o'clock, where we take another pathway for the same thing of faith in this ever-changing world. And that's where Steve will be sharing some of his thoughts. I've just volunteered him again, because I know this is the only way to do it. But just to close, I'd like to leave you with another poem that we found, which I think is so true to this world at the moment. And it's simply just called Faith. People call it a belief. Some call it a tolerance. By faith, justified, a person is sorted. By faith, we are sanctified. And by experience, joy, by faith, we become free from condemnation. Faith gives us an assurance of fulfilment, because faith without work is dead. Live by faith. Walk by faith. Continue in faith. Do everything by faith. Grow in faith. Demonstrate faith by good works. Combine faith with hope and love. Just before we do sign off today, Steve would just like to share a few words with us.
So this week I had the unfortunate phone call on Tuesday morning to say that Stuart, a colleague of mine from work, had unfortunately had a severe heart attack and died on Monday afternoon. As you can imagine, it's really kicked me up and the team. It was a very well thought of man. He wore his heart on his sleeve. He'd give you the £50 out of his pocket and not ask for it back. He was that sort of person. So it's been a shock to us all. And I'm getting upset talking about him already. But my love goes to Alison, his wife, Becky and Alex, his children, because Alex had to fly from Kuala Lumpur, where he works and lives, to come back to the UK, and obviously with COVID and everything else. So this is just for Stuart.
And we would like to dedicate this whole service today, our time all together, to Stuart, to his memory, and to his family. So let's all join together.
So for Stuart, he wasn't a religious man, but here we go. May the angels lead you into paradise. May the martyrs welcome you as you take to the holy city, the new and eternal Jerusalem. May the choirs welcome you and lead you to the bosom of Abraham, and where Lazarus is poor no longer, and may you find eternal rest.
So I think especially for Stuart, Steve's team that he works on, to everybody that's feeling the loss of Stuart now, why not actually let's just raise every single one of our roofs now with this little light of mine.
This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. The light that shines is the light of love, lights the darkness from above. It shines on me and it shines on you, and shows what the power of love can do. I'm gonna shine my light both far and near, I'm gonna shine my light both bright and clear. When there's a dark corner in this land, I'm gonna let my little light shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. On Monday he gave me the gift of love, Tuesday peace came from above. On Wednesday he told me to have more faith, on Thursday he gave me a little grace. On Friday he told me to watch and pray, Saturday he told me just what to say, Sunday he gave me a burning light to let my little light shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine.
So we hope to see you all next week. Go safely this week, look after yourselves. God bless and all our love. Bye.
Bye.